Good morning! So today is the first day of my new rotation for emergency medicine, and this morning we're gonna head over to the building here to do some small group sessions. We're gonna be doing things like ultrasound, looking at ECGs, and also common eye problem presentations. So I headed on over to the Ziegler Lead Core Center. That's where we'll be having our small group sessions. I'm particularly excited about these sessions because I've got a couple of good friends with me on this rotation, so it'll be nice to work together and figure things out together.
See a little twist now, so you're getting a 4-chamber view now.
Oh!
As opposed to, so there you go, you see?
Wow.
And then just try to keep it in.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun just recording and taking pictures of each other's hearts on the ultrasound machine.
Anterior. So that's why, like this one here, septal, anterior. I know.
So we finished most of our sessions in the morning, but then it was time for a break, so I went to go get some lunch and meet up with my 2 classmates who abandoned me to get Starbucks. Just kidding. They're awesome, I love them, and they're amazing.
Oh, you can see yourself.
Hey guys, so I finished the small group sessions this morning and early afternoon, and now I'm gonna head over to my hospital site for the site-specific orientation. See you there. Bye. So I'm always grateful when I have friends who are amazing drivers and they're willing to drive you across the city. In this case, I needed to get to the community hospital I've been assigned for my emergency rotation. Since I did not have a car me at this time, my friend was more than happy to give me a ride, considering that she was also going in the same direction to grab her parking pass, so yay! Thanks to my friend's amazing driving skills, I was able to get to the hospital in a timely manner and get ready for my site orientation. So guys, we are finished the site orientation, hooray! So time to head home and get ready for tomorrow's first ever emergency shift for my rotation. See you then. Hey guys, so I'm here for my first ever emergency rotation shift, and my shift starts in about 15 minutes. These shifts are 8 hours long, and so if my shift starts at 3 o'clock like today, I'll be here until 11 o'clock. So let's go and see how it goes. Bye. So things can sure get pretty busy in the emergency department, so it's important to take some breaks, grab some food, have a snack like I am right now with my banana, and then afterwards I had some fruits from my assorted fruit box. Gotta stay well fed. So around 1 hour before my shift was scheduled to finish, we started to wind things down and I went to go finish off my notes. A lot of my notes were unfinished at this time because we would often have to wait for results and investigations to come back before moving on and making a final statement about the patient. Okay, so I am now done my shift for tonight, and it was actually pretty crazy because I got to do like 5 different things. It was a very good variety, so I got to see your usual garden variety emergency of shortness of breath, and then I also saw some loss of consciousness that had a patient who was bleeding in the urine, and then I got to do sutures. That was amazing. Bit of a sore bunch surgery, was a little bit rusty, but got the sutures done. It was 2 lacerations on the forehead, and then I also got to do an intubation. That was my first ever intubation, so that was pretty exciting, and I managed to get the tube in the right area. Alright, I'm gonna head home and get ready for tomorrow's simulation sessions, and then I also have another shift tomorrow night, but it's gonna be an overnight shift starting at midnight. See you then! So yes, it was a very fun first emergency medicine shift, but I have to go home now to get ready for tomorrow's simulation sessions and get some readings in before I head to bed. So yeah, let's see tomorrow how the simulation session goes. Have a good night! So we have 2 simulation sessions for emergency medicine. Today is the first one, and essentially what a simulation session is, we use high-fidelity mannequins as an educational tool to teach us real human patient cases and scenarios, and how to react as a team and to work collaboratively. If you've watched my earlier episodes on my YouTube channel, you'll remember that I made a video called Clerkship Link Block Recap, and essentially we had a similar simulation sessions with these mannequins as well. Hey guys, so I finished my sim sessions for this afternoon, and our team got the classic STEM E. the patient went into cardiac arrest, but I learned how to do a synchronous cardioversion and we saved the patient. So yes for the sim session. Okay, I'm gonna get ready for my midnight shift tonight for my second emerge shift, so we'll see how that goes. Bye. Okay guys, so I'm here for my 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. We'll see how that goes. I definitely brought some caffeinated products to keep myself awake, and I don't know how much I'm gonna use because I don't really use caffeine in general. But yeah, just getting ready for the shift, and hopefully we get some interesting cases and I'm able to keep myself busy and awake throughout the entire shifts. Okay, see you later. Hello. So it is almost 2 a.m. right now, and we just had a lady who was super hypotensive, so we managed to stabilize her with some fluid. And right now I need to get some fluids because I'm pretty dehydrated, so I got my severely diluted Coke here, and then I'm getting some fruits in. So we'll catch up in a bit and see what's next. Hello, so it is now 4:15 a.m. and I've sedated a patient since and also sutured another patient. So it is now time for more snacks, more of my fruits, and stay tuned for what's going to be next on this shift. Bye. So I was very proud of myself for suturing a patient successfully around 3 o'clock in the morning. That's a first for me. Was I really awake at that point? I'm not sure, but you know, I still did a good job with that sutures and the patient's happy. Though I will say that around this time, it was basically 5 o'clock, my GCS was probably not 15 at all. And thankfully I was allowed to leave early, so I finished my notes up and that was it. Okay guys, we are actually finished our first ever midnight to 8 a.m. shift. It is not technically 8 a.m. but my preceptor was super nice and he said I could leave early, so that was pretty awesome of him. But yeah, I definitely learned a lot, and I mean when you're kind of the few people that's available during overnight for emerge, you do get to see a lot of patients, and I definitely felt like I got a chance to be very much more hands-on and kind of take charge and come up with a solo management plan for some of the sicker patients. Anyways, I am gonna get home and get some sleep because it's almost 6 o'clock. So see you guys later and we'll catch you up on what's next on the menu. Bye! So yeah, I was particularly excited about finishing that midnight to 8 a.m. shift because shortly after I went to Vancouver for a random trip on the weekend. I had an e-voucher I had to redeem before it expired. So here I am with a nice little view of Vancouver skyline. Then it was all back to business the following Monday. It was time for my first academic day of emergency medicine. For our rotation, we do have 3 different ones, and I headed over to the University Terrace, which is a building that we don't really have many classes or things to do in general, so it was nice to have a change of pace and a change of location from my usual lecture areas. Hey guys, so I am now halfway through my emergency medicine rotation, and today we had another series of lectures this morning. I'm also getting ready for my CARMS application, or the residency matching application, so later I do have to get my passport verified before I can apply for the licensing exam, which is called the MCCQE. And then this afternoon is going to be more sim sessions, so stay tuned for that. We'll see how that goes. Alright, that's my update for halfway through the rotation. See you later! So yeah, it was time to get my passport verified. That went really quickly in like 30 seconds. And now a word from our featured guests on what they think about the rotation so far.
So tell us one thing you like about the emergency medicine rotation so far.
I like that after your 8-hour shift, you can go home.
I like how you can see undifferentiated cases earlier on. That's so professional.
So thank you to our featured guests for their insightful opinions. Also, if you're wondering why there is a video of crab legs on my vlog, it's because I went to this delicious Thanksgiving buffet over a weekend and I really wanted to share the footage and turn this med school vlog into a food vlog for a solid like 20 seconds. One of the things I really liked about the emergency medicine rotation was sometimes you got entire days off, and that meant I could go and spend some time with other friends and do some fun things together. So prior to medical school, I used to be a teacher in the public school system, and here I am spending time with one of my friends from when we were in education together at university. So at this time this video was recorded, the teachers were striking against the government, so the local mall made their attractions free of charge to all the teachers to support the strike. My teacher friend and I had a really great day at the mall on one of my off days. We went and had fun in mini golf, the local aquarium, the local amusement park, the water park, also go-karting. We just did a ton of stuff. So that was great for my mental well-being. Okay guys, it's now time for my last ever emergency medicine shift, so let's go! It was pretty crazy how fast the rotation went by in the blink of an eye. I mean, 4 weeks or a month sounds like a long time, but it felt like just yesterday I was starting my first shift and I'm already on my last shift, but most importantly I had tons of fun on the rotation. Oh my goodness guys, I'm done my last ever emergency medicine shift for this rotation. Wow, that was really exciting, and I can't believe how fast 4 weeks went by. So I would love to tell you more about how I felt about this rotation, because between all the rotations I've done in 3rd and 4th year, definitely emergency medicine was one of my favorites. And I want to tell you all about it, but I do need to get changed as it's almost 11 o'clock, and I do need to get home, take a shower, get some rest, and get ready to study for my exam tomorrow. And also, get ready for the exam itself on Friday. So after that, I will let you all know about how I felt about the rotation. Stay tuned. See you later. Bye. And it's now time to write my exam. I will let you know how it goes. So we just finished our final exam, and I personally thought it was super hard. What do you guys think? It is what it is. Yeah, oh well. So anyways, it's time to enjoy the Thanksgiving weekend now and get ready for Carms. Woohoo!
Hey guys! So I am at the World Water Park here in my hometown, which is basically a gigantic swimming pool with many slides. I'll just show you a little bit what it looks like. So I'm just sitting in the common area, and here is the wave pool. The waves are coming in, and then there's a lot of slides for you to go on. I did get stuck on that really big pink slide when I was younger. Basically, I didn't have enough acceleration to get to the very top of the loop, so then I slid backwards, but they got me out with an emergency exit. And speaking of emergency, I'm here to talk a little bit more about what I loved about emergency medicine. And to be quite honest, I found that in terms of my year 4 and year 3 rotations, emergency medicine was one of my favorite rotations. Some of the things I really liked was the fast-paced nature of seeing patients. So of course you do work up the patients, you take time to figure out what's potentially wrong with them, but what I found was often you would see them, do the workup, and then as long as they weren't complex or you were able to resolve their issue, they were out pretty quickly within maybe a few hours. I found that emergency medicine really helped build and broaden my differential diagnosis, because one of the things I was finding much more challenging in the last 2 years of clerkship was coming up with a broad differential. So when it came to emergency medicine, I found that when you had to go see patients, since you're often the first point of contact, you really didn't know what they were having besides their presenting complaints. So patients with chest pain, shortness of breath, abdominal pain, there could be a multitude of reasons why they're still not feeling the best, and you have to run through that differential pretty quickly because you want to ask the right questions on the history, get the right investigations, and also figure out any emergent management plans if you have to do something quickly for them, especially with something like a tension pneumothorax or aortic dissection or really the life-threatening conditions. But I really enjoyed it, and I found that it really helped build my skills as a future practicing physician and also into my last year of medical school. I found that all my preceptors were super chill. They were also happy and very upbeat and always found ways for me to get involved. And another thing I really liked was how hands-on emergency medicine can be. So you do have to ask, you have to advocate for yourself, similar to the rural part of family medicine. You do have to ask to do things like intubations, suturings, there's a lot of lacerations that comes in through the doors for emergency. Because I was at a community hospital, I didn't see a ton of trauma. So if you want to see more trauma-based presentations, you probably want to go to a trauma hospital. One of the harder parts of emergency medicine was just staying awake sometimes on the night shifts. You do have your sleep schedules reversed quite a bit. As you know, I had a 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift. But in comparison to things like general surgery, where you do have to do like 24-hour on-call shifts, I found that emergency medicine, I was able to stay more awake because I was actually getting more involved, and I was seeing patients on a regular basis every single hour of my shift, versus general surgery, where unfortunately you don't really get as much hands-on opportunities and you're just standing there retracting, looking pretty. Anyways, thanks for listening to me talk about emergency medicine in a not typical area for me to talk about things like this. I'm gonna go back and go on a slide, and hopefully this time I don't get stuck. Next up for me is a few weeks of electives, so I will let you all know how that goes. Bye!
So as usual, thanks for watching my video. If you like this content, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe buttons. Next up for content, a medical conference I'll be attending in Vancouver. Stay tuned!